Now, Rob Staton from Seahawks draftblog.com has already done a mock draft or two. So let's take a look at who Rob believes the Browns might get here. You've done a couple of rounds, and let's take a look at it and then tell us a little bit about each of these guys and what you like about them, what you think might fit in with what the Browns need.
Well, a lot of people like Kwity Paye and may think, well, you've got him a little bit low in your mock draft. There's something to remember with Paye in Michigan is that he only had 6.5 sacks in 12 games last year, and he had 2 sacks in 4 games. You don't have a real deep back catalogue of games to go and check out. He plays in flashes, but hasn't had sort of that dominant season that you kind of see from someone like Chase Young a year ago, which really propels him to the top of the first round. I think there's a cluster of pass rushers that could go in the first round that could go anywhere from like 12 all the way down to the Browns at 26. But here's what Paye is. You know, he's quick, 6'3", in the 3-cone. He can run in the 4.5s and the 40. He's explosive enough. 34-inch vertical is about kind of what you want from your pass rushers. And a 4.15 short shuttle. Those are the numbers that he's expecting to go for. So he's somebody who has got that quickness, has got that speed off the edge. Put him across from Myles Garrett. A lot of teams are going to really struggle to take on the Browns. And then in round 2, Dylan Moses. You know, the Browns are very good at finding these SEC talented players who fall. You know, you look over the years. I would say that Nick Chubb fell. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous that Nick Chubb, he had no business being available at number 35, and we've seen that now with how good that he's been in the NFL. You look at Greedy Williams at LSU at 46, Grant Delpit at 44, Matt Wilson, who was a later round pick, 155. They've done a very good job of finding these guys who fall for whatever reason and getting talented players. Now, Dylan Moses was on track to be a top 10 pick, a bit like Grant Delpit. And then he had an ACL injury a year ago, missed all of last season. I'm not sure that he ever quite got back to his very best this year. And because of that, I think there's a chance that he might last a little bit. You've got sort of a few other linebackers. I mentioned Baron Browning. You've got Zaven Collins. There's 1 or 2 others who could sneak ahead of him who just have better seasons and are going into the draft with a little bit more momentum. But if he was there in the late second round, he's somebody who has got that quickness, has got that talent, maybe just needs a little bit of extra time to heal up and get fully back to his best. If he makes it, he could be a long-term starter in the NFL.
What does Paye show on just when you watch him? Because I know you've done some work with the games that he's played. What do you see when you put the game in and watch him play, the defensive end from Michigan that you think the Browns may have a chance for?
What you're looking for, you know, you want to see that speed and you want to see, you know, just a pure speed rush to get around the edge, get around the arc and then finish them straight into the quarterback. You also want to see guys who've got powerful hands that can jolt, you know, who can turn speed to power. If you want to go with a speed rush and then just get into the pad level of an offensive tackle and drive them backwards, you've got to be able to do that to keep one arm free. You see a little bit of evidence of that from Kwity Paye. You know, he's not just a speed guy who's 250 pounds, who's going to be just reliant completely on speed all the time. He's got a bit of size to him. He has got those strong hands, those heavy hands. You can see a jolt with a 2-handed punch. He is going to be able to set the edge in the running game. I think the one thing that if he'd have gone to the combine and performed as well as he's expected to, and then some of the other guys who play his position didn't perform as well as expected to, then what you may have seen is Kwity Paye elevating himself into pretty much a top 15 lock. But we're not going to have that opportunity now. And all you have got is limited tape. There's a few guys, Gregory Rousseau in Miami's another one. People expect him to be top 15. I think he could last a little bit longer. You've got Patrick Jones, who people are sleeping on a little bit at Pittsburgh. I think might go a little bit earlier. You've got Olajari at Georgia, who finished the season really, really well and may have worked his way into the top 20. You've got a big bunch of guys who are quick, fast, powerful, have shown good leadership skills, good character guys as well, that are going to go in a certain range. They all can't go in the top 15, 20 though. Some of them are going to last. And I think there's a chance that one of these guys, possibly Kwity Paye, could be there for the Browns at 26.
What do you like about Moses? ACLs now, it seems like, you know, they are pretty commonplace. They're not that difficult, says the guy that's never had one. They're not that difficult to come back from. But what do you like about Moses, and what type of player does he have the potential to be if he's healthy?
When he was 100%, he was a fierce hitter, you know, downhill, any kind of, you know, dump offs across the middle, any of those crossing routes, he would go and attack. If you try a screen pass, he could sift through traffic, get into the backfield, get a tackle for loss. You know, he was undersized, which, you know, a lot of linebackers are. We're not talking about old school linebackers anymore. You know, we're not looking for these 260-pound guys with a neck roll, coming down and hitting at the line of scrimmage. You need kind of guys who are going to get sideline to sideline. And, so many teams, we saw it with the Chiefs, they love to spread things around, and they'll go on the bootlegs and they'll have their receivers pulling out and all kind of, funky little formations. And you need your linebackers to be quick. You're taking a linebacker off the field an awful lot of the time now for maybe it's a big nickel or it's a slot cornerback, and you need speed. And that's what Dylan Moses was. And I think the one thing we just didn't see from 2020 was him playing in fifth gear, getting absolutely back to his quickest and his best. There were other players on that Alabama defense who maybe shone a little brighter than he did. And when he was playing at his absolute best, as I mentioned, he looked every bit that he was going to go in like top 10, top 12 because of the way that he was playing. Instead, he's probably going to last a little bit longer as a consequence of the injury and not being back to his best. But how often do we see this? SEC guys, they get beaten up a little bit, they fall into round two, but actually they can provide a load of value if you're looking.